Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of my personal favorite series, Overcoming CRPS. In this series, I showcase my clients who have overcome the pain of CRPS and are moving on to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. In this video in particular, I am showcasing one of my lovely clients, Alice. When Alice first came to me, she was a few months post-surgery, and she was unable to lower her foot to the ground even while seated due to the swelling, redness, and purple discoloration that would occur, accompanied by extreme pain. Understandably, this made it so Alice was having a hard time standing for long periods, walking for long distances, and getting through the workday without pain was simply unheard of. This was also blocking her from returning to the things she loved and enjoyed, like going to the gym and riding her bike. Furthermore, it was preventing her from tapping into her creative side and pursuing a dream she has had for a long time, being a cartoonist. I am very excited for Alice to share her story with you guys because she is such an insightful individual about the reason that CRPS came along in the first place. Remember, CRPS is not just affecting our body, it is also a mental and emotional experience that we have to explore. So with Alice, we tackled the physical side of things and the repressed emotional side of things, and that is what brought her to a point where she was ready to move on from this pain independently. I am so excited to showcase Alice's story, but let me introduce myself first. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chase Teagarden, and a little over 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with CRPS myself. After 4 years of pain, using my mother's old walker to get around and having no answers from doctors, I was able to find my way pain-free. Since then, I have dedicated my life to helping people all over the world by becoming a doctor of physical therapy, therapeutic pain specialist, and one of 60 fellows in pain science. This coaching, which I'm showcasing here in my Overcoming series, is one of the things I offer, but I also have a 8-week self-guided online course and many other free materials here on YouTube and on my newsletter. You will find links to all of those things in the description down below. Now, without further ado, I would love for you guys to hear Alice's story, and I'm going to let her tell it herself. Before we get into that, I'm going to show a picture, a screenshot picture of a text message Alice sent me after filming this, because I think she would want it in here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Alice, for having the courage to share, and I will see you in the next video because we have 5 more of these coming out over the next few weeks. All right, take care. But tell me, tell me how you've been. I've seen all your posts with the drawings and the cartoons and everything. So tell me about that.
Yeah, I've just kind of just dived right into it. Like I joined a year-long cartooning program
Yeah.
back in September, and we're up to the point where it's like the 6 week, like 6 weeks is the first chunk of the whole year. And so this big final project for the 6 weeks is due like in a couple of weeks. So
Wow.
I've just been like trying to figure out what to do and just I'm obsessed with it. Like at work, I think I told you last time we talked that when I come back from doing my work, I just have the rest of the time free to do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to focus on lately. And it's just become a great way to tune out issues that I was having at work and still have, but I'm just not so, I don't put as much energy into that stuff anymore. Like
Yeah.
all my energy is just going into this one class and
Yeah.
my drawings.
I love that. I
It's
love
pretty
that.
cool.
Yeah. It's liberating to find, get into something that, I mean, you've desired to try for a while. And
Yeah.
yeah, it does. Like it makes everything else when you're caring for yourself in that way, it can make everything else just fall away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of empowering in a way, like I feel like the people that I still have issues with are still trying to get to me, but I just don't give it that time and energy anymore. It's like I don't give them that time of day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. That makes me smile.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, fantastic. Anything else new before I jump into some questions?
Yeah, and so I am doing a 10-week long Vietnamese language course,
Yeah.
and that's been fun. We meet like every Saturday morning online.
Yeah.
Last Sunday we had like a live event that was mandatory, and so we all met in person and we got to like talk about Vietnamese folk stories and do little group exercises with it. And I made a buddy. I'm going to meet up with her this next Friday to do some studying together. And so I feel like I'm happy with that. It's a cool way to get to know people, especially when
Yeah.
I haven't really put myself out there in the past year or so.
Yeah. That's awesome. It sounds like we're back to living.
I feel like I'm back to living. Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely feel that way. Thanks to you, Chase.
Oh, well, thanks.
That's why I'm kind of nervous is because yeah, I mean, you've just like helped me in such a really profound way that I'm just like one among many of your clients. I just feel like so much gratitude for you. And yeah, it's very, yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I've been talking to people how I need to, one of the things I'm working on is getting better at like receiving praise. It's kind of like for me it's kind of like when I hear it I tend to brush it off, but I feel like I'm trying to work on, just saying thanks. And so thanks. I it means a lot to hear you say that. And I'll be excited, next year we did the 5K this year. But I'm gonna do, I think, like a window pane retreat. And so instead of like the objective being a 5K, I'm gonna just pick a place somewhere where we can all just get together and have like 4 days of activities and stuff like that. So you're
Yeah.
coming, you're invited.
Cool. Okay.
So it'll
You
be
said
fun.
next year or is
Yeah,
that's next year?
next year, maybe
Okay.
next year around September time. If not September, like maybe early November because it's awareness month.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll be the client retreat. So there'll be invitation coming your way.
Great. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Well, if you're ready, we can start into them. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. So, firstly, introduce yourself to people on YouTube and kind of a background about where you were before we started working together.
Okay. My name is Alice. Before I started with Chase, it all started with a bunion surgery last December. It was kind of an involved surgery. Like I think my doctor cut through a ligament, cut through bones, put two screws in place to hold everything together while I healed. At the 2 week checkup, my doctor took off the cast, took out the stitches. He took x-rays and he said everything was looking like it was healing really good. But I was having this really weird thing going on in my left foot and my left leg. It was always cold and really white. And the only time when it wasn't cold and white was when I was going through like a really bad flare. And that's when it would turn really red, really swollen, just really painful. And I didn't think anything of it at the time because it was still like so early in my process. So I just ignored it. Um, at the 6 week checkup, my doctor took more x-rays, said that things are continuing to look good. The surgery went well, and but at this point, I'm still having the really cold white sensations, the
Mm,
really bad swelling episodes, and and a purple foot whenever I had it lowered to the ground. And I mentioned the cold and the burn and the hot swelling to him, and I remember my doctor saying, "I think it's just like a dysfunctional thing going on in your autonomic nervous system. We'll just keep an eye on it. Hopefully, with time, it'll resolve itself." Um, and he told me he wanted to see me back at 2 months so that he could take more x-rays and take another look. Well, at 2 months, I come in. He told me that the x-rays look great, but he also was looking at my foot and he was like, what's up with your foot? Why is it so cold? And your leg too. And I was like, well, I mentioned that last time and I was hoping you would have some answers because it hasn't gone away. It's just been like that the whole time. And then the only time when it isn't is when it's swelling. And I took out one of the pictures that I had taken of like a really bad swelling episode.
yeah.
And my foot looked like somebody took a surgical glove and blew air into it, tied it up, and
Mm,
then painted it red. And
mm,
I saw his expression when he saw that picture. He looked shocked. And he was, at that point, he was saying stuff like, well, I don't think you have CRPS. And that, him mentioning CRPS, that was actually not the first time I'd come across it. Because up until that time, I was Googling at home. I was like trying to do my own investigating at home. And I was coming across a couple of people mentioning CRPS. So for my doctor to actually say it, it really made me start to freak out. Like maybe I have this, like the worst thing, and now maybe I have it.
yeah.
But he said he doesn't think it is. He thinks it's just still something weird going on with my nervous system. And he referred me to another doctor. And this is a physiatrist. And I had seen this guy before.
Yeah.
He's somebody that had done a nerve conductance test on my arm a couple years previous.
Mm,
And this doctor, again, wanted to do a nerve conductance test, but he wanted to do it on my affected foot.
mm,
And I'd already known from that last experience that it was pretty painful, really unpleasant, and I did not want him to do the same thing with my foot. He also said he didn't think it was CRPS. He thought that the purple coloration was just a weird vascular issue. So he referred me to a vascular specialist. He thought that, oh, I was also having like burning nerve sensations at this point on my right side.
Mm,
That happened pretty much when I started to walk again. He said that he's very convinced that was due to just like a pinch sciatica from me having to learn how to walk again after being off my feet so long. So he recommended PT, and he also recommended a lumbar nerve injection
mm,
and nortriptyline for medication. And he really urged me to let him do that nerve conductance test. All these things were just really invasive options for me.
yeah.
I didn't want to do any of them. Um, so I got a second opinion from a neurologist, and the neurologist, I was kind of hoping in a weird way that it was something other than CRPS, or
Sure.
I was hoping when I saw the vascular specialist that it was actually something wrong with my heart or something.
Uh-huh.
Anything other than CRPS. That was just like the last thing I wanted to have based on what I was reading from everybody. But everybody was confirming CRPS and everybody was also confirming the pinched nerve idea.
Mm,
Like I just have to do physical therapy, he'll do some nerve glides with me, and my pinched nerve would resolve. But that didn't happen.
mm,
Um, I ended up going to a pain management doctor, and this guy, I had a lot of hopes in him because everybody else that I was reading, they said that the one person who helped them the most was the pain management doctor.
mhm,
But mine wasn't able to help me at all, practically. Like, all he had to tell me was he recommends I go through with a lumbar nerve injection. And then if that didn't work, I can come back to him and he'll talk about a spinal cord stimulator.
mm,
And that seemed so like such a far leap for me, pretty much based on the fact that I didn't have that extreme pain that everybody else seemed to have. I mean, I had everything else except I could touch my foot with a lot of things, and I was really sensitive to it, but not in agony.
yeah.
And for him to mention an SES right at that point, I just kind of lost trust in him and I just kind of cut him off. Like I didn't pursue anything with him anymore. I kind of just started going rogue on the internet, like just trying to research everything I could on my own. And of course, that put me onto the social media groups that were really unhealthy for me at the same time.
Yeah.
But it also was good because it got me in touch with the Scrambler group on Facebook.
Hmm.
And that looked like the best solution at that point. Like it was non-invasive.
Yeah.
It couldn't hurt me. It could only help me if I responded.
Yeah.
And all it took was like time and a lot of money,
Yeah.
which I was willing to do because I wanted to do anything at that point.
Sure.
So I did Scrambler in May, and after a couple of days at Scrambler, um, my flare-ups went away, and I thought, that's great, I'm a responder.
Yeah.
But it came back as soon as I came back home and started working again.
Mm,
I don't think that Scrambler was a wasted experience for me though, because there were a lot of good things that came out of it. One, I had a lot of time, so I started doing meditation.
mhm.
And I noticed that during the day, whenever I had like the burning nerves, whenever I could calm my mind at that point and try to relax myself, the burning pains would go away.
Yeah.
So that was the first observation I made with that. And then also, I had a lot of time, so I started looking at your videos, maybe like one or two at the time while I was away. And I didn't, it wasn't like first and foremost in my mind at that point because I still had hopes for Scrambler. I thought that that was going to be the ultimate solution.
Yeah.
But what you were saying really resonated with me because you were talking a lot about the emotions connected with the physical pains. So just, I was really open to that at that point because I had already seen with my own body that whenever I was able to relax my mind, my burning sensations would go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I came back and the flare-ups started all over again, at first I was like super discouraged. I thought that that was the last non-invasive option I had. But then the more I looked at your stuff, the more I was like, this is non-invasive too. It's what it is like a bunch of good education. And
Mm,
so you know, I bought your 8-week course, started working through it.
mhm.
And again, like everything resonated with me. So I was really able to be open-minded to everything you had to teach.
Yeah.
I got on the waiting list and I think I started with you one-on-one in July, like mid-July, I think.
Yeah.
Now here I am in October.
Yeah. And then we did what did we do? We did 8 or 12 weeks. I can't
Eight
remember.
weeks.
8 weeks, yeah, and it was really, since you had already, were on the wait list and doing the course, it was really refreshing when you came in. We could really jump right into that emotional side of things, which
Yeah.
is awesome. And yeah, I mean, that's the standard timeline for someone dealing with CRPS. Unfortunately, it's a lot of fear, a lot of reading that's scary, and it gets us, in this perpetual fear state. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, they will take this SCS or they will take that more invasive route because they just want to be out of the pain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I could see that.
Yeah, and
And I
it's
was even thinking about it too. The only reason why I didn't was because everything I'd read from people were saying that they tried it, it worked for maybe a month or two, and then they wanted to rip it out because it was like putting them back in horrible pain.
yeah, I have a lot of clients that, had done it and after we work together get it removed or, they say it made everything worse. And so yeah, I'm glad you didn't go that route. And um so yeah, before we started, we were having trouble with, everyday life in a lot of ways. What was the most challenging thing before we started?
Before we started, at that time, the most challenging thing to me was my work situation. I was still am dealing with a person who has been very difficult to work with. And then I put my trust in management and went to them and informed them of what was going on. After trying to resolve it with her first, I went directly to her and tried to resolve it. It escalated into something worse.
Yeah.
I went to my management hoping that they would do the right thing, but
Yeah.
they didn't. They kind of tried to cover it up and didn't do anything for me, but it seemed like they were protecting her. So it was just it became a really depressing situation for me to go to every day. I
Yeah.
just felt like I had no support there whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
just
that,
had to go through the motions of trying to pretend like like everything was okay.
yeah. And there was with the timing of all of this happening, we correlated it with our surgery that led to the manifestation of CRPS because it was around the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right around that same time. Actually, I left work in December to get that surgery, and the first blow up with this one person was late October. So,
Mm.
and even during my recovery, when I was at home, I was emailing my managements to, because they were doing an investigation, my managers would email me with updates and stuff or information, and I would have to respond. So I was still kind of stuck in that, my mind was still dealing with that at the time, even being at home.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like the stress of surgery itself, plus leading up to the surgery and after the stress of this situation at work and the anger, building up and having to
Yeah.
be pressed down. And
Yeah.
and uh I want to so much to say, but let's continue on some of these questions here. I want to jump to this one. That on that subject, what do you think the most important thing you learned during coaching with me was?
It's so hard to pick one important thing because there's been many important things, but I think at the very top, the thing that tops them all is just that I can't resolve something like CRPS, like a long, persisting, weird, unknown pain condition by just looking at things that are wrong with my body. Like I can't just go get a spinal cord stimulator and I can't just take medication without having to go to deeper levels of the emotions because
Yeah,
those are connected to your body. So I think like the whole thing about how your mind and your body are not separate, they're one and the same. And you can't just address the physical aspects of yourself without looking at your emotional traumas and the pains that you still carry with you, either from things that just happened or from things that happened years ago in my life, that
yeah,
I can't just ignore that part and expect to get better.
yeah, yeah. One of the things I've said during our sessions is we're often the type of people because we're trying to please other people. We're the type of people that push emotions down,
Hmm.
and eventually we push it so far down that they show up in our feet.
Yeah,
Um,
my left
and
foot specifically.
yeah, right. Mine too. And and a lot of times that ends up being in situations where either we need to stand up for ourselves or someone else needed to stand up for themselves or we need to put our foot down or someone else needed to put their foot down. And I see it time and time again with clients. And so I'm so glad you've said that because every single one of these testimonials, most of them, when I say what's the most important thing you learned, they'll say the emotional side. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's absolutely right. You cannot, when you came to me, one of the things I said to you is you're not your foot, you're Alice. Um,
Yeah.
and so you have to see the whole person, and that's the big thing. And yeah, I hope anyone watching this testimonial, I am certain if you really look at the timing of when the pain started and everything, you will see patterns in life that line up with it. And I saw it myself, and all my clients see it. That's part of the 8-week course, that timeline activity.
Yeah, definitely.
So awesome. And on that note, as we were, what would you say the biggest challenge during coaching was for you?
Gosh, you know what? Like, I thought the biggest challenge when I first started, I had a feeling we would talk about my work issues because that was so obvious in my mind. So I thought at that point that it was going to be having to rehash the part about this person and my management and stuff like that. But it ended up being going back to way back when I was 13 or so, when something very traumatic happened to me in my personal life, my family life actually,
Yeah.
and having to realize that I never really dealt with those emotions. I thought I had. I thought it was like buried way back in the past and that it was done with. And to realize that it's not done, like it's still with me, and to have to work through that and get those emotions out, that was very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. It was difficult, but would you agree freeing in a way?
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
very freeing. It
Yeah.
just felt like, again, to use the word empowering, but that's the only way I could really frame it is it's empowering to not have those emotions like with me anymore. You know, it's just like dropping a big load and letting it just stay on the ground and then continuing on without it.
Yeah. Walking away. Yeah.
Hmm.
I love that. I hear that a lot from clients where like firstly it'll be I don't want to talk about that because I'll never stop crying or it'll just come up and it's like come up from where, and you even use the word things that I had buried. I see two visuals there, burying it down, which would be our
Hmm.
foot, but I also see like when we bury something, the way that we usually like tap the top of it is usually
Yeah.
stomping it, right?
Yeah, with your foot.
Yeah, so the symbolism is so evident, through, and obviously I've always pointed that out throughout coaching, but yeah, our mind to protect us sometimes brings on pain,
Yeah.
because of the things that have hurt us.
Hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. You know all this, preaching to the choir, but
No,
um,
it's all right.
so with all that being said, with the things that we overcame physically, we were getting back to physical activity, the things that we explored emotionally. What are you up to now after we've finished coaching?
I am back to, well, actually, I was going to say I'm back to life, but I think I'm up to so much more than what I was, than where I was at before I saw you, because I don't remember being so excited about like my future. Like the mindset I was in when I saw you, I was just like going through the motions at work and thinking, where am I going with this? You know, what am I doing?
Yeah,
But it's a job and I have to keep doing it, you
yeah,
know, but now it's like I'm so excited. Every morning when I wake up, I just think about my cartoons and oh, okay, so where I'm up to now, I'm taking a cartooning course and I've never done anything like this in the past. I don't have any drawing skills. I'm trying to learn along the way, but I have all these stories that I want to get out, right? I just have the story part of it. So I'm
yeah,
trying to learn the technical part. But so I joined a cartooning course and I have like assignments that I'm excited to work on like every minute, you know, like in every every conversation I have like with Chris or with people at work, I just in my head I'm like, how can I turn this into like a cartoon?
right, right.
You know, I don't know. I just feel so excited and I don't remember feeling that before I
Yeah,
came into this. So I think like after working with you and your course, it just got me thinking about what I want for my future and then actually starting on it. And now here I am past the starting point
yeah,
towards my goals and stuff.
I love that.
I'm also like excited about getting back to bike riding. Like it's been a long time since I did a long distance bike ride, but that used to be part of what I did like every summer. And at first I thought about it like a month ago, but I was like, there's no way my foot can handle this, right?
Yeah,
But I think like the mindset I have now, I still have things going on my foot that are uncomfortable and pain. But my mindset's different now. I don't think in terms of, well, I can't do that anymore. I think in terms of I'm going to do it, and if my foot bothers me, I'll deal with it then, and I'll try to like work through it, you know? I don't let it be this big obstacle in front of me that stops me anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's the key there is to, not let it rule life anymore and be a fear cycle that we get into. When we finished
Yeah.
our 8 weeks and, we were still having a little bit of pain and I had asked, what do you want? What's the next step that we want to take? One of the things you said, which I keep hearing, is I think I want to act as though I don't have it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Um, and that to me really is the key because that is where my healing began. I was like, you know what? It's here. The doctors aren't helping me at all. I'm just going to try to get back to life. And what was miraculous about that is over a number of years for me, but for you, it'll be probably faster because of all the things I taught you as much as I could, you know,
Yeah.
of all the last decade of education. But what happened is one day I was just like, oh, my foot hasn't bothered me in a while. And that was 8 years ago, And so
Yeah.
with you going back to bike riding and getting back to just living life, eventually I have no doubt that that moment will come for you also. No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited for that day when I realized, just like you, oh, when's the last time I had pain, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait for that day.
Yeah.
But
It'll
it's
it'll
coming. It'll come. I know it will.
absolutely sooner than you think. And that's
Yeah.
the fun part. Yeah, with the bike riding, have you ever heard of Ragbri?
Right, right? No. What is that?
It's where you bike across Iowa. I grew up in Iowa and
Oh, okay.
you have
Is
your
it flat?
tire. Yeah, yeah, really flat. So you have
That's
your
great.
tire in one river and then you bike across the whole state and put your tire in the Mississippi.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so maybe we should do that sometime. That'd be cool if you get
I
back
am
to
all up for
riding.
it. Like, is there a bridge? Because I have this thing with biking across bridges. I just think that's the best feeling in the world.
Yes, there's definitely bridges. Some really cool ones too.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'd be
Okay.
all up for that.
Okay, we can line it up because my brother's moving back to my hometown, which is usually at the end of Ragbri. Um,
Okay.
so that'd be cool. I've always wanted to do it, but I've wanted to do it on a BMX bike.
Okay. Is it like cross country at all, or is it just mostly a flat
It it's
road
pre
bike type of?
I think it's pretty flat, like mostly roads, like straight
Okay.
across.
Okay.
From
Because
what I
my
understand, we'll find out.
okay.
If we plan it, I'll look it up. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, okay. So that being said, now that we're back, we're doing cartooning, we're embracing life, we're getting back to biking. Would you say you fear CRPS the way that you used to?
No, not at all. Sometimes, like if I wake up in the middle of the night, I feel something weird. It's usually always at night, of course, and I'll start to kind of go down that little rabbit hole where my mind starts fearing. But then I tell myself it's just because I'm tired, exhausted, I need to go to bed, and I'm struggling with this going back to bed thing, and that's what it is. In the morning I'll wake up and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I really try to stop it. If it happens in the daytime, I don't really fear it at all. I kind of just, that sounds weird, but even like before I knew that I had CRPS, whenever my toe would start to hurt near the surgery,
Yeah.
I would try to think of like Yosemite Sam getting pissed and like picture his face getting all mad or something.
Even before we started, you would think about that?
Even before, like I would try to deal with the pain that way so that I wouldn't make it so important. I would just try to trivialize it and make it
Yeah.
something goofy and funny. And then I'd literally like start giggling on the inside. And
How symbolic considering the things we learned about CRPS during coaching. Because you selected a character that was getting angry.
yeah.
And one of the emotions we learned about, being a part of this pain was the anger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know it's so easy to get angry at your pain though, right? Because it's just, especially if it lasts a long time, you just get really frustrated with it
Yeah.
and then it just becomes something you get pissed at so easily.
Yeah. I think that honestly, to be honest with you, I think that's part of the reason that pain is the thing that we end up with is because in our life, we were taught that anger wasn't necessarily a safe emotion, but being angry at pain is okay, you know?
Yeah.
Um, Like when I stub, the one time that I would be forgiven for cussing when I was a kid is if I stubbed my toe really bad.
Because everybody knows how much that sucks.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh yeah, that's okay. But if I'm angry at my parents and I even think to lash out in any way, I'm done for, you know? And so
Yeah,
anger with pain is safe. Anger as a regular expression, not so safe. And
yeah.
I think as people pleasers, the way that our CRPS personalities are, that's the challenge. And so yeah, I love it. I love hearing all of this, and I love hearing you being back to life. I remember when I was dealing with my pain, when you're dealing with that pain and you get this like message that you'll never get better, you close off, and it's mostly just endure, and life kind of does fall away. And so coming out of it and then even leaning into life in a different way than you did before, it just makes my day to hear that. And I love seeing I'll probably have put them in the video if you don't mind, but I love seeing your cartoons. They make me so happy. Every Facebook post, I think you see me liking them.
Well, thank you. But disclaimer, I have no technical drawing abilities. This is
I
like,
think they look awesome.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think they're
Thank
great.
you. Appreciate
Um,
it.
yeah, well, sweet. I think this is fantastic. I think people are going to be really proud of how far you've come and excited to hear your story. Do you have anything to say to anybody who's considering the course or doing coaching or is fearful in that way?
Yeah, I really recommend, you know, giving your course really like a lot of consideration and especially your one-on-ones.
Yeah,
But I would have to say also that not to expect it to be a quick, easy fix, because that's not what it's going to be for
yeah,
most people. It's going to involve a lot of heavy work, like dealing with things that aren't fun to deal with, like specifically like any emotional traumas that you may have had in your past or in your present life. So it's not a quick solution, but if you're willing to invest that time and energy into it, it's definitely going to put you in so much of a better place than where you started.
yeah. I love that you said that. Thank you. Yeah, one of the things that we talk about is Sigmund Freud said unexpressed emotions will never die. They come forth later in uglier ways.
Yeah.
And, CRPS is a calling out of some inner part of you that things are not right. And when we listen to that inner voice and when we process that really hard, deep stuff like we did with you, that in and of itself is the remedy to reduce and get rid of the pain eventually. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Thanks, Alice. This might be one of the coolest testimonials so far because we kind of got straight to the point, and I think people will be surprised to hear, some of the revelations you had during our work. It's cool.
Cool. I'm glad.
Okay, well, we can wave bye to YouTube and then we can just chat for a bit. Sound good?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, bye YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Picked up the pieces, the seasons are changing, flowers I'm rearranging. Kept this a secret, gave me every reason, the stream I was chasing. The price of peace, the silence released, the fire we kept on burning. The light through the leaves, smoke in the trees, engines keep on turning. Thought we'd find. We couldn't time. It's on the line, watch you try. Yeah, we can lie, yeah, we can hide. Wings can shatter. Yeah, we can try, we can fight. We can hide. Breathe in the ashes, the sweetest distraction. Guess it's my reflection. Drowned in the habits, got trapped in the static, got off on the panic. watching the stars shoot in the dark, burned up the wings that we wore. Flaming no spark, it's time to depart, and all the lies that kept me warm.